Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Best news ever, Josh Brolin is cast as Cable. That's right, Thanos is going to be Cable in the Fox movies. I know that just blows your mind, so I'll explain what's going on with Infinity War. If you're new to the channel, I do Marvel and DC every week. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. I know a lot of you are confused about how Thanos can be in the Fox movies because he's doing both Infinity War films. They haven't confirmed a lot for that second one, but they're filming them back to back. Thanos will always be a big character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so there's a lot of trickery going on behind the scenes, and I can explain what some of those 4 movies on Josh Brolin's Deadpool contract are going to be. And if you were confused by some of the things in this teaser that Ryan Reynolds dropped, obviously Josh Brolin's face is in the copy there, just a nod to Cable. They have the dominoes sitting over here, just a reference to Zazie Beetz being Domino, but then this is for the Golden Girls here. These are all the Golden Girls. Deadpool has a long-running thing in the comics where he's this big B. Arthur Golden Girls fan, so they worked that into the first movie. They had Betty White record this funny trailer.
Anticipated movie of the year, Deadpool. It was glorious. Once in a generation, a movie comes along that your whole family will love. If your family is a up group of kissing inbreds. Plus, Ryan Reynolds looks so handsome in his red leather suit. I give it 4 Golden Girls. It's the best picture of the year.
And then in the actual movie, because Ryan Reynolds in real life is also a B. Arthur fan, in addition to the Deadpool character, he contacted B. Arthur's son, got permission to put her face on his t-shirt, so when Wade Wilson is walking around in the first part of the film, before he becomes Deadpool, he's wearing a t-shirt with B. Arthur's face on it. So just a whole bunch of Golden Girls funny stuff going on behind the scenes. Expect them to do the same thing when the second movie comes out too. So there's a lot of stuff to explain. Let's start with the basic Deadpool news. So Josh Brolin is going to be playing Nathan Summers' Cable in Deadpool 2 first. There's going to be a Deadpool 3. They've already started talking about it. There's going to be an X-Force movie. So when they say he's signed for 4 movies, that's what those 3 are. The 4th one could be anything. It could be Deadpool 4. It could be X-Force 2. It's more likely it would be X-Force 2 or some other X-Men universe film. But the important thing to remember is they've already confirmed a lot about the future of the Deadpool side of the X-Men universe. Mostly that X-Force will spin out directly from the Deadpool sequels. Both Deadpool and Cable will be main characters in the X-Force movie. So they're getting ready to ramp up on pre-production on Deadpool 2. They're finishing the script. They've already found most of their characters. They have their Domino, Zazie Beetz. It's going to be crazy. It's never going to be exactly like the comics. The first Deadpool movie changed a whole bunch of stuff about his backstory and the characters they use. But most of the Deadpool 1 characters will be returning for Deadpool 2. That includes Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Colossus will probably come back too. But big takeaway is that most of the characters are coming back. There'll be a bunch more obscure characters that'll pop up. In X-Force, if you've read the comic, you know it's more like an R-rated version of an X-Men movie, so it'll be a little easier to predict what they're gonna do with that once we see Deadpool 2. We've already gotten a version of that teaser. There were a bunch of Easter eggs for Cable, even Hope Summers, even though I don't think that Hope Summers is going to be a part of the Deadpool sequels. I'll link that at the end of this. But the next big question you all have is, what about the Marvel side of things? What does this say about Josh Brolin's role as Thanos in the Infinity War films and the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? The most likely thing is that Fox and Marvel came to an arrangement where they allowed him to do this because his Thanos performance is 100% motion capture. You wouldn't know it was Josh Brolin if you didn't recognize his voice. So it's a lot easier for him to go off and do other movies without casual moviegoers getting completely confused. So you and me, we're big comic book fans, will definitely recognize the fact that it's Josh Brolin. Oh my god, Thanos is Cable and Deadpool's making all the Goonies jokes. But on the flip side, a lot of people are like, does this mean that they're going to recast Thanos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? It's always possible, but I don't think they're going to do that. Marvel wants nothing more than to find a Spider-Man Sony-style sharing arrangement with the Fox characters. Everybody keeps asking, are there going to be Fantastic Four things happening in Thor Ragnarok? Because this Jack Kirby comic book panel with the Fantastic Four in it looks exactly like what's happening in Thor Ragnarok. Now, that's really just Jack Kirby stuff that's going on there. It's not necessarily Fantastic Four stuff, but there are going to be so many conspiracy theorists now that say, oh, if they let Fox use Josh Brolin, does that mean that they get to use Fantastic Four stuff? It's always possible, but I don't think that's the case. I think they just came to the arrangement that they can use Josh Brolin because he's only motion capture, so it's probably just a matter of scheduling and financial stuff going on, because Thanos is going to be a really big part of the first Infinity War film. We don't know exactly what's happening in the second part, other than it will just be addressing the consequences of what Thanos does when he assembles the Infinity Gauntlet, the Avengers trying to fix the universe. But they said that the second one isn't even going to be called Infinity War just because it's going to be so different from the first film. So it's possible that Thanos is not as big in the second film, and that's why he has that much more time later this year to film the Deadpool movie. Because it takes a long time to film a movie, way longer than a couple weeks, so he's going to have to be walking around with Ryan Reynolds this whole time. So one of the benefits of them filming both Infinity War films back-to-back at Marvel over in Atlanta is that actors are coming and going throughout the year. Chris Evans just said that he's getting ready to go film his Infinity War scenes, but like Robert Downey Jr., the other actors are going at different times during the year because they're not all going to be on screen at the same time. And because he's only doing motion capture, it's a lot easier for Josh Brolin to shoot his scenes. He can walk around with one of the suits with the dots on it, but they can also have a double on set if they wanted to, Rocket Raccoon style, and have him just do the voice later the way that Bradley Cooper does that, but James Gunn's brother actually plays Rocket Raccoon when they're filming on set. So there are just a number of ways to explain how Josh Brolin can spend all this time later this year filming Deadpool 2 while at the same time working on Infinity War stuff. Far and away, this is the easiest slam dunk for them. He has the presence, the size, the physical size to be intimidating next to Ryan Reynolds because Ryan Reynolds is super tall already. So anyone you would cast as Cable, even though there will be a little bit of CG, has to be a huge person who has the presence to overpower him.
Your demeanor is that of a pouty child, and apparently you alienated my favorite daughter, Gamora. I shall honor our agreement, Kree, if you bring me the order. But return to me again empty-handed, and I will bathe the Starways in your blood.
They need to be someone who can do comedy because he has to work with Deadpool, so it's this really weird puzzle piece they have to fit. Like Michael Shannon was a really solid pick, but I don't know what his comedic timing would have been like next to Ryan Reynolds, and a lot of people behind the scenes are saying that he was hesitant to commit to a 4-picture deal. But Josh Brolin is totally into comic book movies. He was so excited when he got to be Thanos the first time. Remember way back during Comic-Con 2015 when he came out with the Infinity Gauntlet on? He was having so much fun, so he is totally down to hang out with Ryan Reynolds for 4 more movies. A lot of you are asking about the story. What's it going to be? They will be true to the original first meeting of Cable and Deadpool in the comics. They were definitely not friends. Deadpool was hired to kill Cable for Tolliver, while Cable was putting a team together to fight Strife back in the future. So there are going to be wide elements that they don't do from the comic book. I'm not expecting Strife stuff to be happening. I'm not expecting them to do any Apocalypse stuff because Strife is connected to Apocalypse in the comics. So just expect there to be a lot of changes and expect them to butt heads in the most fun way possible when they first meet. But that's part of their chemistry, is that they hate each other, but they work so well together. So Cable cannot stand Deadpool, but they are both so good at what they do that they have to come together. And then you throw Domino in the mix, and she's been both an antagonist and a friend to both Cable and Deadpool in the comics. So the relationship between all 3 of them is just going to be nuts. It'll be a lot of fun. But if you want to read up on their original first meeting, Cable debuted in the comics in New Mutants number 87. Now, he debuted as a baby way before then in Uncanny X-Men, but you want to start with him as Cable. The first time he saw Deadpool was many, many issues later in New Mutants number 98, so you could read those 2 issues like first appearance of Cable, then first appearance of Deadpool, then you can read X-Force number 1 just to get some background on X-Force, but we're still a long ways away from that movie happening. If you're not reading any Deadpool comics right now, you can start with Mercs for Money. Domino's taken over the team, but there are a billion Deadpool comics out there, so just find something you like and check it out. Don't worry, you don't have to read all the comics to understand what's going on. That's kind of what my channel exists for, so I'll point out all the Easter eggs as they start to announce more stuff. But the fact they're announcing their Cable now, 1, because there's so much comic book stuff happening this week with Star Wars Celebration, DC just dropped all that Justice League footage, Marvel drops its Thor Ragnarok trailer, so it's just like everybody dumping their really cool news this week. So it's just like the best thing ever. But leave all your requests for Deadpool bonus videos in the comments below, What's going to happen next is there's a Flash trailer that I want to get out, and then it's going to be all Star Wars mostly for the rest of the week. Just a whole bunch of really cool stuff. There'll be a new Star Wars The Last Jedi trailer, so just leave all your requests for bonus videos in the comments. While you wait for that, you can click here to rewatch that Deadpool 2 trailer video, and you can click here for brand new Star Wars. Thank you so much for watching. Let's high five. I'll see you guys in the next video.